Well, that's been a very fast ride. We've been moving at about 1,000 miles an hour. It seems like it was only yesterday we started out. We met the first day at Haskins & Sells back then. Today is Deloitte Touche, or Deloitte, the accounting firm. So we became friends instantly. You can see we were the new hires at Deloitte.
And out of the 250 people, for some reason, Humberto and I bonded, and we became very close friends. Humberto always dabbled in real estate, even while we were working. So he decided, you know what, there's more opportunity out there in doing real estate than there is staying with Haskins & Sells. So I said, fine. He says, why don't we team up? I said, okay. So his idea was he would leave first.
So when I left, the accounting manager, who was running the firm, asked Glenn, are you going with Humberto too? Oh, no, I'm not leaving.
As soon as he left, they called me in the office. I'm wondering, well, are they going to fire me or what happened? And they said, Humberto left. I said, yes, I know that. So when are you leaving? So they knew right away that I was going to join him. And that's 40 years, that's 1975. And we've been together ever since.
Sure enough, 2 months later, Glenn came along and we started the firm of Lopez and Toyoshima. And we started doing some consulting work and some tax work. But the idea there was that we dedicate ourselves to doing real estate.
So it turned out that I ended up doing all the accounting work, and Humberto was doing his real estate. And I used to work my tail off. We didn't make much money. But the deals, the real estate deals, is really where the money was. So then we stopped doing accounting work and did real estate. And primarily in Southern California, in the San Fernando Valley. But back in those days, it was the heyday of real estate in California. So there you bought a property, and it was just a question of how long you wanted to hold it. We bought a few deals here, but the biggest deal we did was the Santa Rita Hotel. So that's when Bert decided, we got to get more involved. So that's when he decided to move back to Tucson.
And by 1979, we had done so well, and my daughter, Ileana was going to be turning 10 at the time. My wife and I started talking, do we want to raise her? She was an only child, and we want to raise her in Los Angeles. And we decided, no, we don't want to do that.
So I said, well, you know what? I don't think I want to move to Tucson. You know what I'll do is I'll just make trips. Whenever we have something to do, I need to get something done, I'll just fly to Tucson, get it done, fly home. And that was 30 years ago. And here I am, 2015, still doing the same thing, flying back and forth. I got a heck of a lot of frequent flyer miles, but I'm getting a little tired of planes.
So he's in and out every other week. And now he says, I kind of like it. And that I spend a week at home and then a few days here, so I've got a great lifestyle. And at the time I had joined the National Guard in Los Angeles, and they were all professionals that joined the National Guard because none of us wanted to go to Vietnam. So we served 6 years in the National Guard. On the weekends, we sit around and kill time while we were serving. And I got to meet a number of my investors, and I got 5 friends of mine to each pull in $5,000, and I put in $5,000. So $30,000, we bought our first, what we considered a large apartment complex, 30-unit complex, for $300,000. 6 months later, we sold it at a $100,000 profit, and the deal I made with them is that I would get 50% of the upside. They all did very well, and I did extremely well, and the rest is history. And these investors, as a matter of fact, 2 of them continue to invest with us after 40 years.
There are some milestones. Prohorov property, which was a old chicken raising piece of land in California, turned out to be very successful for us. And that became the site of the University of San Marcos. So we sold that off, and that we did very well there. That was a pretty big deal.
Today, I think we've probably done a couple of hundred syndications very successfully. We've had some tough times over the years. We survived them. Luckily, we always had cash. And I've always said, you can have all the equity in the world, but if you don't have the cash to back up that equity becomes worthless pretty quick on downturns. So we survived.
He's the visionary. Humberto's always has been the visionary. And I'm kind of the guy that makes it work, gets it done.
By now we got through 4 different cycles, 4 different recessions, and we survived every one of them. Not that we didn't sweat it out there for periods of time, but luckily we've been able to weather every one of them. We've been able to buy when the markets have been down and sell when the markets have been up. Luckily and fortunately, we have always maintained our credit. That's one of the keys to our success, integrity and preservation of credit. Omar pretty much now runs the company and consults with me almost on a daily basis, keeps me informed as to what's going on.
Our current team is probably the best team in the world. I mean, you cannot find better team players than we have now. I mean, you start with Humberto's nephew, Omar, fantastic individual, smarter than a whip, sharp, makes a great impression, fantastic.
And Omar decided, well, why don't we start bringing in the management in-house instead of outsourcing it throughout. So told Omar, yeah, you can take it over, but you're going to get the worst properties, and if you can perform, then as other management companies continue to not perform as we want them to, you can take over those properties. So over a period of 3 years, he eventually ended up with the entire portfolio. We found out that we could build cheaper than we could buy existing properties. So that's the reason we started building. So Omar was pretty much responsible for spearheading the construction company.
When Omar came in, he also got Chris Evans aboard. We now have had Lisa Rosenfeld as our vice president, and we have a fantastic group of supervisors. And due to their efforts, Humberto and I, we don't have to worry as much about operations. We can, as we get older, our mind's not quite as sharp. We can kind of sit back a little and take a look at what's going on and listen to the reports as opposed to having to do it ourselves. So that's been a great tool. I mean, we're never going to stop. I think both Humberto and myself are going to work till we die. And like myself, I don't know what else to do. I mean, why not work? So, yeah, I just like to thank Humberto for picking me 40 years ago to go on this great adventure. I mean, it's been a good ride.
Well, Glenn, stay healthy. At this point of our lives, health is more important than anything else. And I've always said my definition of net worth is relative to the amount of time you have left to enjoy it. So hopefully we have a lot of time left to enjoy what we've been able to accumulate over the past 40 years.